afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, fans of Skyterra. Welcome to another episode of the World Series qualifying match. I am the commander reporting in for duty. Joining me here today is Zambho and Apples, playing for that top 8 spot in the world qualifying competition here. We are, of course, on the Ashen Pass this month here, playing with the new rules. And so we do see here that with the playoffs, of course, the higher seed does elect to choose whether they want first or second, or do they want choice of the outsider here. And so we see, as a result of those choices, Apples has the first player, and we will be using the original outsider. Apples bringing a mono yellow squad, and Zambho bringing a primarily green with some blue splashed in there. First hero off the bat for Apples will be Cytheru. Perhaps we want to see a little bit more offensive play, and responding with Neliclin and Kotlik from Zambho. As you can see, our win conditions are on the more aggressive side here. We do have Hunting for Power, delete the outsider, win the game. With 20 HP, 2 armor, the mages will certainly be necessary for that. Tactician, win the lead of a control token 6 times. Given the changes to Ashen Pass, this condition takes forever to accomplish. I don't think that's going to be our win condition today. And then finally, we have Onslaught, defeat 3 enemy heroes. And as we see there, Zambho bringing in Vorhild and Freyhill as well for his lineup. And then we see Habrat and Akuti, and I'm not actually sure who Apple's 4th person is here because he hasn't brought anyone forward. So let's go ahead and wait for that to happen, for him to clean up the cards, and we'll see who his final hero is. He does still have Shafathi or Kenwi to select, or Ekrit as well. We'll see which of those he opts to go for here. Freyhill will stay in the reserve for Zambho, as we mentioned. Good idea to keep your kind of healing mistress in the back for now. Of course, one thing to note, the decks are totally sealed in this particular world qualifier, so I have no idea what's coming, and it does look like Ekrit will be the reserve for Apples. But so as I was mentioning, the entirety of the qualifier here, the decks are sealed, so you will not have any information from me on what may be contained in the deck. We are going to what I'm looking for. We are looking to enhance the kind of competitive integrity here. So we've decided not to give away any information. Give me just a moment here. I need to adjust some mics. Okay, if we speed that up, and okay, good. Now I shouldn't sound like a mouse anymore. Excellent. So, also apologies for those of you who are using headsets. If I just deafened your ears, I do apologize. And with the draft started and completed, let's go ahead and zoom in to the board, and we'll get started here. All right, so looking at this setup here, I do think that one of our win conditions is going to be a bit aggressive. And yes, so King of Jokes and also Tape, I do apologize. For some reason, my microphone did reset its level down to about 15%. So please do let me know if it's any better now. Okay, sounds good now. Okay, good. Thank you. Yeah, for some strange reason, I don't know why the settings did decide to revert from what I had, so should have probably checked that before I started, but if I did, then that would make me responsible, which we all know that I'm not. So, going through the mulligans right now, as you can see, we are seeing the numbers flashed up, and as again, per the whole hiding as much information as possible scheme here, we do have the setup here such that we are only going to see the modifiers that are flipped, or whenever the cards are led for, we will see the value that they add. We will only be talking about cards that are actively played in the game. So therefore, obviously, those +3s could have been ultimates, or they could have been psychic shields. We're not going to find out which one. I am going into this totally blind, which does make casting a little bit more challenging for me, but nevertheless, we are interested in preserving the competitive integrity for the players, which I have always been a proponent of first. So, first action will be the move. Habrat will be activating for Apples here. Go worship immediately here. Bring out that illusion for Habrat. Interesting positioning for it. Normally, see it a little forward so that you can get the benefits from it, but We'll see what exactly Apples does have in mind with this particular setup here, and then is going to finish leading. Remember, with the new rules of Season 2, the dome essentially on the Ashen Pass is split into 2 segments, and so therefore we will resolve it as a single control challenge at the end of the round. There is simply the lane and the dome area to be considered, so therefore Zambho can choose to simply go and position himself near Control Token 2, and it will challenge the same area as Control Zone 3. Of course, then the outsider is free to spawn on either side of the board, dependent on its particular conditions. We'll talk a little bit more about that as we move on. However, we do see Vorhild activating, and Vorhild looks like she's going to go for that challenge. So I expect either a move attack, and yep, there's the attack against Habrat. Habrat has no armor at all, and with Habrat having gone himself, Vorhild is relatively safe. Of course, Cytheru could try to do something. We do see 2 +2s on the flip there, so that's going to be 5 damage against Habrat, immediately dropping him all the way down to down to 13, and so now his HP is equal to Vorhild's. There may be a touch of Leothin, perhaps, waiting in Zambho's deck, should Cytheru decide to get a little frisky and go after her, potentially with a move, skirmish, and then attack. Of course, the skirmish cannot actually attack her, or damage her, I should say, due to the new rules of how skirmishing works, but nevertheless, a +3 flip against Vorhild will take a chunk out of her HP, but with that shapeshift action from the worship, means that's no longer an option. So therefore, Apples will need to use a Release the Spirits or a Purge and Purify in order to remove that condition before Vorhild can be attacked. Purge and Purify seems to be an unlikely choice, but Release the Spirits is a very popular card, and with 2 yellow-red heroes, both on the field in Habrat and Cytheru, possible that Apples does have it in his deck. Of course, not in range with the Habrat. It is only a range 2 card, but Cytheru, if he decides to go a little bit deep, I don't imagine that he'll do that, because that would leave him wide open for a counterattack from both Kotlik and Nelliklin. And although there is a Kuti on the field, and with the new rules to the Nuptins allowing projected effects to be within 3 as opposed to line of sight, that would allow Cytheru to get a +1 armor, which would make him a little bit more durable against Kotlik. Nelliklin, of course, as a mage, will provide piercing, which means a Kuti's armor means diddly squit, but at least would prevent Cytheru from getting the double punch from the Kotlik. So that being said, we are currently ignoring the lane, and could potentially cause havoc here. We do know that Vorhild is going to be in a good position to start using her 1,000 Tiny Needles passive ability if pillars start appearing. Both Habrat and Cytheru have 0 armor, which means that she can just slowly chip things away if the pillars start occurring. And of course, we know that Kotlik loves to have pillars up in the area, turn them all into minions using an Umburial Rites, or just to delete a whole bunch, boost that skirmish damage, and then go in for the 1-2 punch effect. We'll see what happens here with Onslaught on the field and with Hunting for Power. Both of those options do seem attractive if I'm Zambho here. Always a fan of aggressive games here. Hopefully this doesn't become a bloodless control match, but if it does, then it do be like that, as the children say. Is thinking, and so am I. What am I thinking about? Well, I'm thinking about dinner. Because it's never really too early to consume food, in my opinion, unless it's the day before. So I was thinking about a night... Alright, no, sorry. Wrong focus. Reminder, also, we do have some other games in the queue here. Coming up here for the... World Qualifying Championship. We do have some of them scheduled here. I'm going to go ahead and pull the schedule up while we're waiting for the players to make their moves. We do have a top 4 game, actually, of Doknika and Smiaz coming up Friday, March 26th. That will be 9:15 p.m. GMT. Credo and the King of Jokes will be doing that. We also have Irvine Person and... Nope, sorry, we've already played that one. My apologies. We do also are waiting on the next top 4 game from Gameslayer versus the winner of this game. That one is currently en route to be scheduled here. The other game from the top 8 has already been played, and the final pairing from the top 8 had a bye, actually. There were only 7 who made the top cuts there. So please do look forward to the semifinals matches coming up. Gameslayer will be... Oh, and we have a Flux call already. So this is most likely going to be a presence play here. Generally speaking, there it is. Yep, presence right off the bat. So let's go ahead and pull presence up. I'm sure we all know how this works, but nevertheless, for the newer members of our community, we want to take a look at this. Present does give you a bonus 1 control to whatever control zone challenge you're making, and you get to predict too, so we can take a look at our deck, see if what we see is useful for a lead or potentially for an attack action if we're trying to go the more aggressive route. So therefore, with this play here, Akuti will contribute bonus control value here, potentially going in to help ensure that Apples does win the dome right off the bat. Habrat is already leading from the hand by sinking Akuti into the dome here as well. But a lead from the deck. So in this case, I think it's unlikely that Akuti is going to go and challenge the dome. Looks like we're going to go for an overwhelming play in the lane here, I assume. 1, 2, 3 for the move. We did see, and then finally the worship action, bring down that illusion token and provide +1 armor to her friends within 3, but also oh, no, not a lead from the deck. Okay. Somehow I saw a lead from the deck flash up and I was mistaken there. Must have withdrawn that. I was going to say that would be 4 actions. But nevertheless, we do see the attack on 1 minion. And then, of course, Akuti's passive does allow you to flip against a second minion. And so, therefore, we do kind of get that nice 2-for-1 deal. Akuti definitely seeing a lot more prominence. And, very nice. Then using the passive from Habrat's token, which does make sense as to why he had it positioned where he did. Habrat's illusion does allow any projected hero then to make a 1-move hex after damaging a minion. And so Akuti is now able to slide her way into the dome, providing extra control challenge while making it so that Apples gains a lane advantage. Very nice play from Apples. So now Zambho is going to be on the back foot, because with Akuti in the dome with a presence boost here, Satheru can simply march into the dome and guarantee that Apples wins control there. And so Zambho now has to focus on, I think, winning the lane. There's really not much else that can happen there in the dome for him at this point. I guess you could send your heroes in to start trying to beat them up, but Kotlik still needs to move and skirmish. Interesting to note, though, with... nope, never mind, can't make it there. So Akuti does have the +1 armor from her illusion token. Habrat does not have it currently. However, Kotlik is not able to get within range to hit Satheru even after using a move and a skirmish, so it doesn't really matter about that. And as we said, Nelliclin would pierce through any armor anyways, so it doesn't matter if they're in range of that or not. So the question now is, what cards does Zambho have in his hand that will allow him to counter this rather aggressive play from Apples? A very strong opening here. One of the things I think we've seen is a rise in Yellow's prominence with this triple, within 3 effect of the projected heroes. We've seen Akuti go through the roof. See if we have anything interesting from the chat at the time. Nope. The Outsider, yes, the Outsider is the OG. For whatever reason, it's not appearing on the sidebar there. Oh, right, because we're on the Ashen Pass, and I guess they didn't put it in the correct slot. We will see the Outsider's HP appear, obviously, at the end of the round. It is a hunting for power match, which means that the Outsider can become relevant here. There are 2 mages on the field right now, and of course, Freyhild, technically, I classify as a mage, even though it's kind of a part-time job for her. But both of those players do have mages within their lineup, and so this could end up turning into a race to kill the Outsider. Of course, the Outsider will be able to retaliate, and with the ability to be both within and without the dome, the Outsider will have its choice of targets for its attack actions. Now, going to activate Nelliclin. Okay, so we're going to save Kotlik for last here. So the question is, what do we do with Nelliclin? Do we send him into a cover hex, pop off a minion, and then lead just to try and counteract the lane push? Or no, we are going for perhaps an aggressive play, move skirmish, and then we're going after Habrat or Akuti. Probably Akuti. Well, no, Habrat's already down to 13 HP, so that might be a little bit better. And we are going to attack Habrat. All right, so Zambho says, all-out aggression. I like this play here. +1 on the flip, does 4 damage. Habbarat drops to 9 hit points. Very nice. 1, 2, 3, 4, down to 9. Okay, so Habbarat, a little bit damaged here. Of course, cannot be hit by Kotlik directly at this point, but 9 HP is a bit of a hurting point here. Now, interestingly enough, in this position here, Satheru could move Skirmish and go into Dome number 2, start attacking Nelliclin, and then the Outsider could spawn at the very tip of the Dome 3's control area, and then start wailing on Nelliclin as well. We'll have to see if that's the play, though. As this is getting a little bit crowded here, I don't think Kotlik would be able to move 1, 2, 3. Yeah, no. So Kotlik would not actually be able to get up there and stop the Outsider spawning from his starting position. So we could essentially just tuck in and have a Dome Brawl here in Dome number 3. And Dokes also agrees, we got to go and pop Nelly. I mean, if Nelly's going to sit there out in the open, you got to take him down. Nelliclin, very powerful as the game ramps up, especially with his passive ability, remove a pillar, clean up his mana. As we get deeper into the rounds here, turn 1, turn 2, maybe not that big of an effect. But once we get into turn 3, turn 4, being able to have 6 to 8 mana versus everyone else's 3 to 4 can allow you to do a card dump, especially if you're running Rampant Hatred. I know Rampant Hatred has received a bit of a hit. First of all, we can't teleport with Nelliclin anymore. And also the skirmish action now goes on the stack. And also we have to target with skirmishes, but nevertheless, getting a +3 piercing on your skirmish and a free action, still very, very powerful. Meanwhile, Satheru is going to join the Dome Brawl. Here we go. So we're going to go ahead and move. We're going to go ahead and... Oh, or are we going to attack? If he attacks that minion... Interesting. All right. So he's going to delete all of Zambho's minions. Very nice. So we're not going to actually hit Nelliclin. But that's okay. Well. Well, this is awkward. The Outsider can't... Wait. You can't do that. Excuse me a minute. You can't flip against Nelliclin. Oops, wrong button. Pretty sure we just witnessed an illegal play there. But I guess the players are going ahead, so... Alright, well... okay. Kotlik is attacking. Oh, he's Eyebrow Delusion. Okay. Is that what happened there? Oh, right, he moved in. That's right. One of the things I did forget, of course, is that the Habbarat Illusion, once he killed the minion, he was allowed to move in, so that makes more sense. Everything goes well and according to plan. Please ignore me. Everything is all well and good. That was totally legal. And so Nelliclin is down to 11 hit points, and Satheru did safely tuck himself in there. We do see that Kotlik is going to go ahead, try to do a little bit of control here. Possibly, I assume, lead from the hand, or maybe from the deck. We are seeing that result. And it looks like the chat was agreeing with me here. Tape also thought that we're like, wait a minute, we have an illegal maneuver here now. And then it looks like King is the only one that did, in fact. Oh, and we see a Shield Slam coming out. So Shield Slam does allow to delete one minion here, as Shield Slam will deal damage equal to your armor to an adjacent target, piercing. And so Kotlik will be able to remove a minion. Therefore, this control token is actually going to go flying all the way up to Apple's tower. So very, very nice play here. Zambho knew he was going to lose the dome, Zambho knew he was going to lose the dome, but makes up for that by putting some lane pressure on here. Now, of course, again, remember, with the new rules of the Season 2 here, players do get to draw a card for winning a control point, so each player will get 1 point on Tactician and 1 draw on the card. Obviously, Apples is not going to lose this control fight here. He's got 3 heroes versus 2. He's got a lead versus none. He's got presence versus none. And so here comes the OG. All right, so with OG on the field here, I'm going to go ahead and just grab their token, put that on the board so we can get the Outsider's hit points. And so, as we can see, whoops, wrong button. There we go. Outsider. Place the Outsider anywhere across the dome's perimeter. Cannot move. Divine Conduit. Target friendly hero takes a worship action. Shockwave, Piercing, and a Shove 2, and draw a power card. But we're going to go with the good old attack, and we're going after Nelliclin. So you see that Nelliclin eats another 4 damage attack, down to 7 HP. Very nice. Perhaps we will see I don't know if we see Instill Energy at this point, given the fact that that Apples is currently at 5 cards. You get to draw 2 at the end of the round, so that means he would overdraw. Perhaps a Skirmish and or a Shockwave attack just to deal a little bit more damage against Nelliclin with no armor. We can continue to chip down and then set up for an insta-kill from Habarat on the first activation. We may also opt to see a worship action, the Divine Conduit, just reposition the illusion token such that Nelliclin gets nuked easily there. We do see the Skirmish, however, first. So Skirmish action will be 0+ on the flip here, +1. All right, 1 more damage brings Nelliclin down to 6. And so what will the final action? Shockwave would blast Nelliclin out of the way. I'm not sure that you need to do that, given that Habarat can actually just walk right up to Nelliclin and cut him down now. Perhaps you do a worship action to move the illusion adjacent to him just to get that extra +1. You can't Shockwave Vorhild as she's shapeshifted. You could Shockwave Kotlik, I suppose, if you wanted to push him out. I'm not sure that that really gets us anywhere, but it's a possibility. You could reposition Akuti's illusion. Given the kind of clustering nature of the board here, it may be beneficial, especially since you're about to wipe especially since you're about to wipe Nelliclin off the map. That armor then does become relevant to your heroes. Habarat is looking a little banged up there at 9 HP. It is possible that that Apples is packing some nourishes with Akuti that he can use to heal up, but also just as likely not. So what will the final action be? Apple's still thinking, makes perfect sense. Jokes is saying get Cytheru's illusion out. That would probably be a good idea as well. Gives you a little bit more flexibility from where you want to cast with Cytheru, and it is a worship action. So we did use the Divine Conduit, and Cytheru is going to bring out his illusion token right there. So we now get some bonus charge from spells that are being cast within the line of sight. And of course, projected heroes may use that as their casting point as well. Given that they're all right there, not really going to make that big of a deal for the purposes of that ability. More likely just so that Cytheru can start casting some Nightmares Incarnates, some Migraines, perhaps well, we can't use Wind Blast right now. We've already popped the Flux. But nevertheless, get some spells out here. Although with Vorhild shapeshifted, you can't target her yet. You could, however, use a Release the Spirits, perhaps from Habarat or from Cytheru through that illusion token, cleanse the shapeshift from her, and then proceed to nuke her. Is an option. All right, so we're going against Nelliclin here with I'm not sure what exactly Habarat is activating. So, but an Impervious comes down. Very nice. So Impervious will force some additional actions to be consumed in order to kill Nelliclin here. Impervious will give the target hero +2 armor, so this is going to ensure that Nelliclin doesn't die right away. I still think it's likely that Nelliclin dies here. It will just require a couple more action points on Apple's half in order to slay the Nelliclin. Now, of course, if there's another Impervious behind this, that might be a different story. We'll need to wait and see how this resolves here. All right, we do see, I'm assuming this is a skirmish action from the targeting ping. Yep, so there we go. We do have the move. We're going to go ahead and flip. This is likely not going to do any damage here at this point. Okay. We're going for now, I assume, the attack action. Apples didn't clear off everything that he had on the card. Ooh, and a +3 on the flip. Okay, that's going to deal a lot of damage. But with that Impervious armor, Nelliclin lives. So in this situation, had you moved that illusion token adjacent to Nelliclin, that would be a dead Nelly. Unfortunate. So the question now remains, does Apples want to go ahead and do something perhaps with Cytheru or perhaps with Habrat? A Nightmare's Incarnate, or a Shattermind rather, would be enough to kill off the Nelliclin there. Even through the Impervious armor, as it is down to 1 hit point, so need to see what happens. But nevertheless, a very, very effective Impervious coming out from Zambho here, able to stave off the kill, and there's the Shattermind. All right, so Habrat is going to play the Shattermind. If there's no Nourish response here, that is a dead Nelliclin. Shattermind is a very straightforward card, 3 damage to the target enemy hero. We are going to do that to Nelliclin, even though he does have Impervious. 3 minus 2 is still 1, which means that without a reaction, this is a dead Nelliclin. So wait to see, does Zambho have... no, there it is, the Granite Skin. That will be enough to save. Very nice. So, Granite Skin is going to give Nelliclin a +1 armor. As well as now, in this case, +3 skirmish damage. Of course, the skirmish value doesn't really matter, given that it expires at the end of Habrat's activation, but that +1 armor is going to be enough to keep Nelliclin alive. So, at the cost of 2 mana, Nelliclin lives. Apples is now probably very annoyed, and so we will see that Nelliclin lives to fight another day. Very well played defense from Zambho. A nice... Oh! And Nelliclin's actually going to go for a shield slam now. Okay, well, this makes sense. Nelliclin currently has 3 armor, and so Nelliclin will go for the shield slam play here. This makes perfect sense to me. If you've got the armor, might as well try to take advantage of it somehow. I assume the shield slam will go on Habrat, as Habrat is currently at 9 hit points, just to continue to lower him down and get him closer to the kill range, actually, now. Whenever Vorhild or Nelliclin himself activates, Habrat may just end up dying. Is there a response to the shield slam, however? There could be perhaps a response from Cytheru that armor doesn't make a difference whenever you've got something piercing coming out. Will Cytheru come to his companion's aid and prevent the shield slam from going off? Or has Nelliclin survived this particular activation? Let's see what we have happening here. Again, both players are tied 1-1 on Tactician. Again, Tactician, one of the most easily achievable victory cards in this new game here on the Ashen Pass, given that there are only 2 control zones per round to win. And you do need to get 6 control tokens, so it is kind of a bit of a Resident Sleeper. Oh, but Akuti plays the redirect. All right, very nice. So Akuti is going to redirect the effect there from the shield slam. I assume it's either going to be on herself or to the illusion token that Habrat, the illusion token of Cytheru. So very nice there. Delete that there. As we can see, the redirect target in effect on the a target hero, change a target of the effect with a new legal target. So instead of being able to shield slam Habarat, we're going to use that shield slam on the illusion token. So very nice use of redirect, I think. Definitely going to make it a little bit harder now to kill off the Habarat. Of course, with 9 HP, still very possible to do so with 2 activations between Neliclin and Forhild. We will wait and see if Zambho has some more tricks up his sleeve. Of course, Vorhild is a little bit low on mana. Neliclin is completely tapped at this point. Kotlik is still brining, ready to go. Kotlik may march in there, do some weird shenanigans, so what happens there? Maybe play a Lord of the Many, followed by a move, a skirmish, and attack against Habarat. I'm not sure. We'll see what happens. All right, so we're going to just go ahead and clear the action stack there. We do see the skirmish and the attack for Habarat have been declared. What is the final action? Will Habarat move perhaps to a different location, in the cover hex perhaps? Both Vorhild and Neliclin are both ranged, which means that anywhere in the dome from their positions, they're not going to be able to hide. Cytheria would be the one option to hide from Vorhild, but, again, you can't have 2 people occupying the same space. This is already COVID-19 unsafe enough as it is. We've got 5 individuals and a elemental beast thingy. I think exactly what the outsider is. We're just going to call him some sort of elemental. Occupying the area there, not safe. Remember, everyone, to be safe and be smart about things. That way that 2022 comes around, we will be able to join together and play in person. And so we are going to see the move action. Does he run into the cover hex, though? Yes, he does. All right, very nice. So he does decide that if Vorhild or Neliclin wants to go after him, it will be the case that they must exit the dome. All right, there we go. So that was a very interesting turn 1 activation from Apples. We did see an attempted assassination on the Neliclin fail. Still not out of the water yet for Neliclin. He is down to 1 HP. Akuti can very easily knock him off during her activation. We will wait and see what happens. But before then, the question then becomes now, do you activate Neliclin and use his abilities now, or do you wait, let him die, and then you get to use Freyhill at full mana and full HP? The trade-off, of course, is that Freyhill will have to start near the Nexus Tower for Zambho, so she will have to use a move and potentially a skirmish in order to get into the action herself. The trade-off there, though, the other thing is, with Neliclin dying where he stands, Kotlik would be able to move in and start attacking Akuti. Though I suspect we will see Kotlik start to engage against Cytheru. Excuse me, not Cytheru, against Habarat. With Habarat positioned where he is, of course, Kotlik cannot currently see him. And so therefore, we do need to see a move action or a skirmish action, which will not be able to damage him, go first. Although, of course, with that move, Habarat is now within range of the Akuti illusion. Excuse me. And so, okay, so Neliclin is going to go. So we are going to opt to use Neliclin, and then if Freyhill does come into the field because Neliclin dies, this is going to result in... so we're going to skirmish against Cytheru. This makes sense. Then we can go ahead and retreat to the cover hex. Although, by doing so, we won't be able to attack Habarat, so that is an issue. 1 damage against Cytheru brings him to 13. And so Neliclin is going to come out into the open. Makes sense. I assume next action is an attack. There it is. Targeting the Habarat. Is it possible that a Time Warp comes out here? Well, it can't come out from Habarat. I guess he's already used a mana. So that's not an issue there. We do see the... Oh! +3 on the attack, actually. Very nice. So that's going to bring Habarat into kill range, actually, during either Vorhild or Kotlik's activation, down to 3. And we do see Neliclin with a move action. I assume he retreats to the cover hex. Okay, not that cover hex was what I was thinking, but also it's still a cover hex. That actually probably is a better cover hex because it's farther away. Ooh, very nice. Okay, so now the question becomes, How do we solve a problem like Nelaklin? As a Cootie, I can't target Vorhild. The Cytheru illusion has been deleted, which means we can't kind of pop up and take a shot with Release the Spirits. I think as a Cootie, actually, I don't know if I do that. Interesting play here. So, Habrat's certainly going to die next round to Vorhild if Zambho wants that. But at the same time, Nelaklin can be opted to kill with a little bit of move and skirmish. It now becomes a balancing act between, do I want to kill the heroes or do I want to save my Nexus? So right now, a little bit of a lead here for Zambho in the control game. That tower, right now the tower will not take any damage, assuming that nobody dies here. No one has led, no one has died. There are 2 minions alive for Apples, so there is some defense against a lost control point here. But if he goes after the Nelaklin, I do worry about his ability to contest the dome. Of course, Zambho does have final activation, so therefore we will get to see if he chooses to fight for the dome or if he wants to continue his targeting in the lane. Although Apples did have a fairly opening aggressive round, winning the outsider, Zambho has punched right back. As we can see here, Habrat is easily within kill range. All Vorhild has to do is get line of sight of Habrat, and he's dead with an attack action. Of course, there could be a Strike Terror card that comes out from the Habrat to reduce her attack, but easily possible that both players could be losing one of their heroes this round. And if both players lose a hero, I would say that it does kind of favor Apples, given that Freyhill spawns very far away from the action, and thank God Kenway's not in this game. Ekrit will spawn adjacent to the tower, right where she needs to be in order to provide additional control against the tower assault. So let's take a look and see what is about to happen here. Again, of course, we do realize normally we don't see players carefully considering their moves, usually about until turn 3, turn 4. However, of course, as this is a world qualifier game, the stakes are a little bit higher. This is not your casual clash where if I win, excellent. If I lose, whatever. There are points at stake here. Of course, both players did receive 600 Skytear shards for winning into the top bracket, but more are still on the line for placing in those 3rd, 2nd, and overall 1st place positions. So very careful considerations to be done. We do see Akuti activating now. Going for the move action, it looks like we're going to try and kill off the Nelaklin. The plan is simple. We kill the Nelaklin. Going to go ahead and worship. I agree with this plan here to move the token there. Although, okay, so actually we're not going to kill Nelaklin. The plan is we're going to kill off the minions. I like this plan as well, as this is going to hamper the control efforts. So 2 minions die there, 1 from Akuti's attack, 1 from the retribution, and very nice. Using that Way of the Rogue ability from the Habrat illusion to get... pinging it to make sure that, hey, by the way, RG, I'm not cheating again. I know what I'm doing, and you don't. I mean, feels bad once you make one error. You can't, forgive yourself for the rest of the game on those. So very nice. Now, Apples does have the line of sight, which means that Cytheru could move... Excuse me. He will not be able to 1, 2, 3, 4... Yeah, so he will have to use move and skirmish to get within range of the Nelaklin, but still able to kill the Nelaklin from where he stands. Habrat being positioned in the cover hex is a little bit awkward. as if Habrat was not there, it would be such that you could simply just move with the Cytheru and then attack, since Akuti is now providing vision. But I believe that it was necessary to tuck the Habrat into the cover hex, make it a little bit more difficult for Vorhild to go in for the kill if she so chooses. We'll have to see how this one shakes out for the players. Of course, there could be a migraine play coming down here from... Actually, never mind. Cytheru won't likely have a range of Vorhild, and she's going to path differently, such that migraine wouldn't be able to hit her. Both Akuti and Habrat have used mana for this round, which means that migraine is not possible. We'll have to go ahead and wait and see what happens. Well, Vorhild does have 1 mana left here at this point. I'm not sure what she wants to use it for. Not really any point in summoning a pillar with either Stone Barricade or Dreams of Talit at this point. Habrat only has 3 hit points, which means you guarantee kill unless your deck is running -1s. Based on what we've seen so far, I don't think that's likely. So should be a guaranteed kill on the Habrat if Vorhild declares an attack action against him. But we shall see what happens. A few moments. Also, speaking of the casual clashes, we do have a double dose of Skytear tonight, so do tune in. Currently it is 12:17 if you're watching this live. Excuse me, not 12:17. It's 2:17. I can't even read the clock. Never mind. We'll talk about that later. So we are going to actually see Kotlik activate here as opposed to Vorhild. Interesting. So Kotlik will go for the skirmish again, perhaps to get line of sight of this. Also, I did misspeak. I did forget the Akuti Illusion does provide 1 armor against attacks, so it is not a guaranteed 100% kill. It is most likely a kill. All you do need is a +1 or better, but it is not, in fact, guaranteed kill on the flips. So I would like to correct myself on that one. I did forget about the Akuti Illusion. So Habrat does get 1 armor, very likely to die, but it is not, in fact, all right. So, Kotlik is going to move into the dome. So are we actually going to just start wailing on Cytheru? Ah, no, we're going to block Cytheru. Interesting. All right, so move, skirmish action, targeting Cytheru. Nope, we're not going to actually block him. I thought we might come down and make this a little bit more inconvenient for him. +2 on the flip, though, nevertheless, does bring him down to 11. And an attack action now will actually do a fair amount. 3+, on the flip, that's 4. Ooh, that there is down to 7. So with this play, actually, Zambho can guarantee that he wins the dome because he's got 1 person finishing in the dome. Vorhild will have yet to activate. And so if there's a 3 mana card in Zambho's hand, it is a guaranteed outsider activation for him. And so now the tables have flipped. So now as Cytheru, I guess we just go and we kill the Nelliclin. We have to win the lane here because Habrat is certainly about to die to the outsider activation. But a time glitch comes through. Very nice. Okay, so this is actually going to mean that we're going to get within range immediately, as time glitch is going to provide Cytheru with fast, giving him the ability to move 5 hexes, so he's going to be able to march within range of Nelliclin. Very nice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, depending on how you position this, nope, not going to do that with that positioning there. Okay, never mind. So in this situation here, I was going to say you could potentially skirmish against the Nelliclin and then move backwards and then possibly do an attack against Kotlik, start softening him up if you so chose. But with this situation here, not going to be the case. So Apples will use the move action there to go 5 hexes, get Cytheru within range of getting the Nelliclin there. Now, can finish Nelliclin off with a skirmish, and then potentially may just provoke the outsider or use a lead action here in order to send the control token flying across the board. So we are going to see the attack action. This will guarantee kill Nelliclin. Dead Nelliclin. All right. Draw one card, of course. The aggro rules were nerfed. Feels bad, man. As an aggro player, so only one card drawn there. But with Nelliclin activated and defeated, we now get to see Freyhill come on the board. Okay, we're going to mark Nelliclin's revival on turn 4 there. Seems good. I'm sorry, not Nelliclin's revival. Freyhill, that's right, I forgot. Actually, I messed up. I forgot about the respawn changes. So, that makes at least 3 mess-ups I've made. So, actually, with the dead hero, Freyhill does not come in immediately anymore. Apologies, I forgot this is another change that we've done. We've kind of standardized the respawn rules, which means that Freyhill does not, in fact, come in immediately like she used to. She now sits on the outside until turn number 4. So, this actually makes the play a little bit stronger. The final action still needs to be determined. I'm assuming that it's probably a lead action at this point, or perhaps it could be a worship action, just to get that illusion back on. But Habrat is likely to die here, which means we are going to see turn number 3 turn into a 2 versus 2 round. Uh-oh. Do we have an audio stuttering issue? I hope not. Let's see. Everything looks good on my end. Also for jokes. Okay, I wonder why the audio is stuttering all of a sudden. Let's see. Why is it stuttering? Do I have something extra open? I don't think so. Why would the audio be stuttering all of a sudden? I don't see any settings that I can change. All right, well, I'll have to take a further look at that in just a second. We do see Vorhild activating. She is going to go for the move action here. So interestingly enough, not going to go and waste the actions for killing Habrat with Vorhild, because knowing that he wins the outsider here, Zambho realizes he can do the kill later in the minion phase there. That's good. Okay, so just a quick blip in the internet could be the case. So we do see the attack action coming down there, +2 on the attack against Cytheru. We might actually see a double kill from the outsider here, as that's going to bring down to 3. So with one attack action and then a skirmish shockwave, it could be very possible that we see a double kill coming through from the outsider during his activation. All right. But a lead also from Vorhild. So in this case, Zambho may have actually turned to the tables here. Despite losing a hero, he may actually pull ahead here. Let's take a look. See, Cytheru. No, Cytheru did lead with a 3. So in this case, Apples will at least get control of the control point, but not by a whole lot here, I don't think. Actually, never mind. Those are his minions. So, +3. Not too bad there. The minions will snap. So we do have to reposition the minions there. That does get the control hex away from his tower, which means Zambho cannot win through Nexus Destruction, at least until turn number 4. Everything is all well and good. From that angle, for Apples, what is not well and good for Apples is the fact that 2 of his heroes are at 3 hit points. And the outsider is not known for being a control one. So therefore, somebody's about to die. Possibly 2. depending on how these flips go. Of course, both Cytheru and Cytheru and Hobarot are getting armor from Akuti's illusion here. So Zambho will need a +1 on the attack flip in order to kill them. But the Outsider does get a piercing effect on the Shockwave. So with a good flip on the Shockwave and some decent flips on the Skirmish and the attack, could be a double kill. All right, I'm going to reposition the Outsider, I guess. Okay, there we go. Going to drop him a little bit closer to... nope, put him right back where he was, maybe? I don't really think it makes a difference since your plan is going to be to try to assassinate people with him. All right, so here we go. First action is going to be against Hobarot. I assume this is the attack action. Obviously, whenever you... there we go. Going to clear the action bars. Let's see what we have. Number 1 is the attack action. Very nice. +2, dead Hobarot. There we go. All right, so 1 onslaught point now for Zambho. Oh, excuse me. 1 onslaught point for Zambho. We are tied 1-1 on the onslaught victory condition, and we do see now that Ekrit will also spawn in round number 4. So currently, round number 3 is a 2-2 activation. Ekrit seems to be a little bit drunk over there. I guess it is about 6:30 or so over in Italy. So you know, personally, a good time to start drinking, if I may say so. However, you've got a battle to fight, so maybe not get sloshed until after the victory. Remove Hobarot there from the board. Very nice. Next ability, the Outsider ability, number 1 there. So Vorhild is going to take a worship action there, going to shapeshift herself. That means she can't be targeted. I like this. Very smart. Kotlik is now the only hero target for Apples of Zambho that he can go after, since Freyhild does not spawn in, and you'll still have to waste an action getting into range of Kotlik. The final action, so I guess we aren't actually going to kill Cytheru here. I would like to see perhaps a Shockwave just to push Cytheru down so that you can't get that piercing effect on Kotlik. He may also opt to just draw a card. Outsider skill number 3. All right, we do see that coming through there. Going to go ahead, draw the card, and we're going to end the round. All right, very nice. So evened up at this stage of the game here. 2 tactician points for each player, 1 onslaught point for each player, but I'm going to give the advantage to Zambho in this case. Cytheru is about to die. 1 activation from either, 1 action from either Vorhild or Kotlik, very likely to kill him. Of course, not guaranteed as long as that Akuti illusion is on the field, but we've seen a lot of +1s, +2s from Zambho's deck, so probability says that it will be a kill. Of course, we cannot guarantee that until we see the actual flips. But before that occurs, Apples does get the first activation here, so he may choose to do something here with Cytheru. We'll have to wait and see what happens. As we head into round number 3, it is the Ultimates round. So, round number 3, we are going to go ahead and see what exciting things can we do with Last Judgment, with Voice of Nupton. I always want to call it Word of Nupton. I always want to call Akuti's Ultimate something different than what it actually is. Word of Nupton here actually may be critical in keeping Cytheru alive. We'll see how that works. Blade of Lightning, not going to do too much. Eye of the Storm, can't do anything really, as Ekrit is currently off the side of the board, trying to get herself together for her big debut next round. On the other hand, we do have the Ermine's Eye from Zambho, a very heavily damaging ultimate, which could be just shot right at Cytheru and kill him with that. Kotlik has My Kingdom. Not necessarily the most impactful, given that there's not a whole lot of pillars, but could do some minion control. So we'll have to wait and see what ultimates, if any, have an impact this round. Of course, we may also see some Rampant Hatred coming in from Zambho. We may see, finally, the dreaded Sinkhole may come out. We'll have to wait and see. Some Soul Screams may be useful here. Vorhild may be shapeshifted, but Soul Scream won't protect you. I'm sorry, that won't protect you from Soul Scream as it is an AoE. So we need to wait and see what each player plans on doing here. And this is where the game starts to matter. So while we are waiting, back to what I was saying earlier, tonight we are going to have a Clash match again in about 3.5 hours at 6 p.m. EDT, which is GMT -4. I'll let you guys convert that to your own time zones because we all know SkyTerran time zones go. I've made enough incorrect statements during this cast already, so I will just let you do that one yourself. We will be featuring myself versus Corrido, and Zaragul, and potentially I think C-Dubs or Pythoner will be on the commentary, which guarantees that this will be less of a game cast and more of a flame fest. So tune in for a duo comedy roast central, Comedy Central roast, and possibly a game of SkyTerran to be played in the background while that occurs. And so, yeah, and also the chat is seeing, you know, kind of questioning, we drew the card instead of the shockwave. I can see both there, obviously with the hand size being increased to 7, drawing a card put him up to 5, end of turn draw, or start of turn draw, however it's interpreted now, puts him up to 7. Perhaps not thinking that he's going to get the kill, and for whatever reason doesn't want to reposition the Cytheru. Again, I'm not sure, because now Cytheru can go with a move action into the dome, do some to Kotlik, and then call it a day before he is killed off. So we'll have to wait and see what happens here as a result. All right, well, we are going to go ahead with the Cytheru activation. So the Cytheru is going to clean up some minions here. As we did point out, there is a slight lane advantage for Apples right now. Going to go ahead, kill off some minions before he ends up dying. As I don't really see any way for him to survive unless there's some sort of a time warp or the Word of Nupton. We will actually get to see, dependent on... Okay, so I think Word of Nupton does require heal each friendly hero within line of sight. Yeah. So it does have to be within Akuti's line of sight. So currently not able to be healed. But that doesn't mean that there aren't some other potential shenanigans in play here. So we do see the attack, move, and lead. This is very clearly a bait. I wonder, is there a SkyTerran discharge in Apple's hands? Obviously, Vorhild with 13 HP, not likely to die unless you go for a double discharge. There could be potentially a time warp that Apples is baiting. I don't think so, based on what we've seen from the deck. Time warp seems unlikely. Migraine is an option. Cytheru does have 3 hit points, and from this current positioning here, Vorhild will need to use both move and skirmish, so she only gets to attack. Migraine would mean that you would need to flip a +2 in order to kill Cytheru. Actually, a +3, never mind, because of the Akuti illusion. So that might be what's in the cards. We're going to bait out a move, skirmish attack from Vorhild, use a Migraine, and then bank on not flipping the +3. Trying to think what else could be done here. No, that requires target. That won't work. That won't work either. Trying to come up with a good plan here, but I'm drawing up blanks. Well, we'll see what happens here as Zambho goes and makes the first of 2 activations. Again, remember, both players only get 2 heroes this round due to the respawn rules being standardized. Last season, of course, everyone came in immediately upon death, and then their status as ready or exhausted was dependent on who they were replacing. But now we follow the normal rules of respawn, and so both heroes were exhausted when they died. Their replacements will jump in on turn 4. Let's see what happens here. Zambho possibly weighing in the probabilities of what we just talked about. Going for Cytheru. This seems like an obvious bait to me. I feel like there is some response from Apples here, but we'll see what happens. All right, we do have the move action here from Kotlik, interestingly enough. So Kotlik is going to come out, I assume is going to possibly delete the illusion, make things a little bit easier for Vorhild whenever she goes. Is that the plan here? potentially a shield slam as well, just to kind of erase the illusion token, delete that armor from Cytheru. We haven't seen any Whispers of Nupton so far, as it is a +0 based on the deck that Apples has. That seems unlikely to be happening. So we'll have to see exactly how this turns out. You could also use a Sinkhole potentially to drag Cytheru out into the open. I feel like that may not be the best use of a Sinkhole, but it is an option. Let's see. My Kingdom. I feel like using My Kingdom here, not the right choice of actions. Although, I guess with the pillar placement, you could conceivably kill off all of Apple's minions. So My Kingdom might be worth playing that for, maybe worth playing that alone for that. So we're going to withdraw the move, it looks like. All right, Kotlik is going to go back into the dome. What is the play here? We're going to worship, so we're going to summon a pillar, almost guaranteeing that we then play the My Kingdom. Yep, and there it is, My Kingdom. So this is going to be a big turn of events here in terms of the control. Let me find My Kingdom to bring it up, because there's actually a lot that goes on with My Kingdom. So with My Kingdom, remove any friendly pillar on the battlefield. That's why we worshipped. Then place up to 2 friendly pillars anywhere on the battlefield, which, of course, there is no maximum number, so we can ignore that part in parentheses. Defeat enemy minions that are adjacent to each pillar. So by removing the pillar that is now below Vorhild, you can reposition new tokens in the 2 hexes that are directly to the left of the control token and 2 down from it. That will allow that will allow Zambho to immediately defeat every one of Apple's minions. Very, very nice play here for the control game. Oh, never mind, does not apply. I was about to say will allow for Vorhild to, do a couple pings there, but given that the only real targets are the Outsider and Akuti, both of whom have 2 armor, that effect is not actually going to do anything. So, we do see 1 minion down. Nope. Yep, get rid of it. And that one. 2 down. Yep, you get to delete every single minion that's next to a pillar. All 4 of those minions go bye-bye. Keep picking them up. There we go. Yep, 2 down. And 3 down. And 4 down. Yep, clean that board off. All right. That's a very effective turn there from Kotlik. And then we do have a lead action. So Zambho looking to re-secure the dome there with a lead action from the hand. Now, of course, Cytheru did lead from the deck. So it is possible that he did get another 3, but also more likely that he did not. So Akuti now needs to activate. And the question is, what can Akuti do? She could worship to move the token, attack a pillar, delete a minion, and then move into the dome, perhaps. Not a whole lot of options here. She can't target Vorhild, as Vorhild is still shapeshifted. So, this is an unfortunate scenario. I feel like you want to get Akuti within line, if you have Radiant Voice, or not Radiant Voice, Word of Nupton. Radiant Voice is Akuti's title. If you have Word of Nupton, you definitely want Akuti now to be within line of sight of Cytheru, such that if Vorhild decides to go on a killing spree, you are able to protect him. Because interesting to note here, if Zambho wins the Outsider, then Cytheru is not long for this world. Particularly because you could just use the shockwave to... We're going to play Triumph of the Light. One of the new cards from the latest expansion, Triumph of the Light, says remove a pillar within line of sight and predict 2. So now Apples is going to go sneaky, sneaky, peeky, peeky at his deck there, see what's coming up. Are either of these cards useful for a lead action, or do I just want to simply leave them there to draw, or do I just discard them and send them into the pile? So now, Apples, I think, needs to search for something a little bit more aggressive here in order to set up a final judgment for Satheru, or last judgment rather, would be very useful. You could drop the last judgment AoE such that it hits both Vorhild and the Outsider, dealing damage to both of them, and then of course the Outsider would not be able to retaliate, given that the Outsider is not able to... Oh, never mind. Akuti's within range. The Outsider could retaliate against Akuti. Never mind. Unless, of course, she decides to move out of range. All right, so prediction is over. Akuti is going to go for the attack action here, going to delete the minion. Obviously, we know exactly what that is a +1 on the flip. Grab that. So there are no minions left on the field. Once again, this is a minion-free territory, which is kind of cool. Akuti is going to move into the dome, and I presume the last action will be a lead action, for presumably also from the deck. Yes, there it is. All right, so now Vorhild can come and chase. Obviously, Word of Nupton is no longer in the cards, as Akuti only has 2 mana, but that that Migraine is still a possibility there to make things more difficult for Vorhild to kill Satheru. Still not out of the woodwork yet. We have seen the Granite Skin effect coming through. So, although I guess that doesn't matter because you can't damage Satheru with the skirmish from your current position, so that really doesn't matter. Let's see what happens here. I doubt that there's a strength over pain waiting in the deck. Let's see what happens. Let's see. All right, we do see the move. We do see the skirmish. This makes perfect sense, as we expected. Is there a reaction, though, to the skirmish? Perhaps a Skytear discharge? Nope, no Skytear discharge as Vorhild is being up. She's going to come into the dome, of course. Now this time we know that she's not able to flip, as she did not move from a Way of the Rogue play. I assume the final action here is going to be the attack action in order to try to kill Satheru. This is where we need to see the Migraine. Vorhild is not shapeshifted, by the way. She loses that on activation, so they forgot to remove the token, I think. And there's the attack. Is there a Migraine play? If there's a play, now would be the time to do it. Show us Migraine. Okay, Whisper of Nupton. Not what I was expecting. Whisper of Nupton very simply allows a hero in order to take an action. Okay, and there's the Migraine. That's what I wanted to see. Okay, this makes sense. All right, so Whisper of Nupton really quickly there. Friendly hero on the battlefield takes a worship action, so that brought the illusion down. And then Migraine. This is what I needed to see here. Migraine will deal 3 damage, as Satheru does get line of sight to his token. Where's my Migraine? Oh, but there's the +3, so it does not matter. Disarm only does a to the attack now with the rules change. Although I guess with the old rules change, it wouldn't have mattered either, because that would have been 6 damage cut in half. Oh no, she is within range of the armor, so it would have mattered with the old rules, but in this situation there, so Vorhild does take 3 damage, loses to attack, but the attack still does 4 damage. With Satheru on the battlefield there, dead. Even with the Akuti illusion, gone with the wind. So this is the case of the new rules versus the old rules. And so Cythera does die, which guarantees now that Zambho is going to be able to win the dome. And Habrai does show up in turn number 5. So with this situation here, the outsider is going to be free to spawn and wreak havoc against Akuti. And this is also now game point for Zambho. That's 2 points on the Onslaught. Yikes. This is going to hurt. Now, interestingly enough, there is absolutely no control in the lane. There are no minions, and there are no heroes. There is 0 control in the lane. Ah, I lied. There is now control because Akuti is going to play Time Warp. So Time Warp is going to allow Akuti to move over 1 hex. It is clearly the case that the dome is lost for Apples, so he figures, you know what? It's time to start damaging the Nexus. So where's my Time Warp? There it is. Allows the caster to move 1 hex. So therefore, Akuti does provide some points there. 3 on the lead, which means now Zambho does only have 1 point on his tower, and that control token is pressed. Of course, with round number 4 coming into play here, it will be a 2-3 advantage for Zambho in this round. However, Ekrit and Akuti, both very good at lane control and minion control here. Akuti, I don't think, dies here to the outsider's activation. She still has 16 hit points. So she can't die, actually. Even with Freyhill on the field, it is possible that Zambho may just die to an aggressive push here from... Nope, we're going to go ahead and do this to control the minions. I like this play very much. If we pop the outsider down here, we can attack the minion. We can shockwave Akuti back a little bit. This makes perfectly good sense, I think. Nope, never mind. We're just positioning him at the bottom. We're not going to kill the minions. All right, so an attack against Akuti there will do 3 damage plus 2 damage, which is 5, minus an armor from Akuti will deal 4 damage, brings Akuti down to 12 hit points there. As she is within range of the illusion. The next action here, what we'll see, I assume perhaps maybe you do a worship action? Get Vorhild shapeshifted? I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter since I guess as Apples, your win condition now has changed a little bit into Nexus Destruction. So it's not likely that you'd be targeting Vorhild anyways. Doesn't make sense to draw a card here. I guess you could... no, that doesn't... You can't do that. You can't target Kotlik with the worship action. He's out of range. I mean, at this point, I guess, yeah, you could just skirmish against Akuti and then shockwave her, or just shockwave her, draw an extra card, maybe cycle through. Yep, we're going to go for the skirmish action there. Oh, +2. All right, so it does do 1 damage. You know, every damage does count, as we saw with Nelliclin earlier. 1 HP can be the difference between living and dying. And then we do see Outsider's skill number 2, which is the Shockwave. 2 piercing damage brings Akuti to 9 and blasts her even farther from the control point. Very nice. All right, so very exciting round as we are now getting ready to move into round number 4. So with round number 4, Freyhill is going to join the battlefield for Zambho. Ekrit will join the battlefield for Apples. So there is a 2-3 advantage here. Going to need to see how each player plays out. Tactician is tied 3-3. This is a tough to call who's in the lead here because Zambho, on the one hand, Zambho has 1 hit point left on his tower. 1 more tower damage, kaboom, game's over. On the other hand, Akuti down to 9 HP. You've got Kotlik, you've got Vorhild, you've got Freyhill ready to rock and roll. And if they just kind of concentrate fire here on Akuti, it could just be GG for Onslaught. So both players very close to their win condition. I will say I'm going to give it a slight advantage to Zambho here. I'm going to say that Zambho's does have the advantage just because the control does not resolve until the end of the round. And Zambho does have 3 hard-hitting heroes ready to lock and load. And so I think that Apples may be in a bit of trouble here. Losing 2 heroes, losing that Cytheru definitely hurt him. Had the Cytheru survived, that would have been a game changer. He could have tied the dome. It would have been a 3-3 on the heroes. Very, very close. People commenting about having the willingness to play Time Warp with Akuti. C-Dubs has given up on the -1s. I kind of agree. Even though we can't do the nice, fun way of the +2 Murder Hobo flip decks anymore, I'm still not particularly sold with some of the -1s. It just feels so bad, especially when you're playing Akuti, when you're playing Yami. All praise be to Yami. You flip that -0 on your passive abilities, and it's just feels terrible. Nexus or bust. Yep, I agree with you. Hunting for power, obviously not on the table here. The outsider is at 20 hit points with 2 armor. Your mage is dead. Tactician, we've still got 3 tokens there. Not going to happen. Onslaught, your opponent is much closer than you are. I think that Nexus Destruction is your victory condition as Apples. And so I think Apples kind of weighing in his choices. Apples does have 6 cards, of course. So there is room to maneuver for him. But we have to see how this works out. Okay. Apple's mulling through his options very carefully here. And also, let's take this time to remind you again, folks, as I mentioned, we will have the semifinals games coming up. Obviously, the winner of this game here is going to play Game Slayer. We do have the other semifinals scheduled for Friday. But in the meantime, there is never any... we're always wanting for more Skytier coverage, more content. So if you have a Clash game that you're interested in having streamed, go ahead, post it in one of the channels. We'll be happy to see if someone is able to pick that up. A lot of people, find it very useful to have their games casted and streamed. It allows them to have their games looked at by some other people. It gets more content for the community. And overall, just makes you a better player. So... no pressure. We do our best here in the commentary booth to analyze and make positive feedbacks. Of course, we all definitely have those question mark ping plays occasionally, but we don't talk about those so much. We try to focus on the coulds and the whys and what could you have done differently, perhaps that would have been a better play. And I think that a lot of the newer players find that it's a really good tool to help you become a better Skytier player. Obviously, with COVID still limiting our in-person experiences, online is how we have to do things. Never hurts to have more Skytier content or have more individuals on the stream. So if you are thinking about a game but you're like, I'm not that good, who cares? It's a Clash game. Like I said, the worst thing that happens with the Clash game is that you lose. Skytier shards are given out regardless of whether you go 4-0 or 0-4. There's nothing that's held against you. It's just there for practice, for fun, to build the community and get you playing Skytier. And of course, so that we can, so that we can, try to build you up and get you ready for these more competitive competitions, such as the World Qualifiers. And Smiaz asks, why no time warp from Cytheru? Actually, a good question, Smiaz. To be totally honest, you could have time warped with Cytheru, and that would have fizzled the attack completely. So that's actually a very good question. You would have lost the... I guess you would have lost the dome, and so the outsider would have just kind of come in and killed Cytheru during the minion phase anyways. So I guess the play there was try to prevent the kill with Vorhild and then maybe tie the dome with Cytheru and Akuti being alive and prevent the outsider spawning. That would be my best guess. But we will never know. All right, so let me think. Are there any other announcements? There is a new Outsiders Only episode. Feel free to tune into that. We did have some guests featuring Julio Cesar. I apologize if I mispronounced that, because even though I repeat exactly what I heard whenever he told me to pronounce it, I'm still told that I was wrong. So we're just going to call him Biggie J. So tune in for that episode there as we interview him a little bit more about the Brazilian scene, his role as a tutor, and all the stuff that he's done to help grow the community as well. Very exciting. And we do have a very special migraine segment in that particular episode, which was very entertaining with the results. Trying to think of what else we have here. Apple's still thinking. Eventually, we will get this play resolved, possibly in time for the mid-season qualifier. I will be completing my doctoral studies, and we will be back in person. But we will get there, nevertheless. Eventually, we will get there. Also, another option, we are talking in the chat now about, ways we could have saved Cytheru. You could have disarmed the outsider if we would have used the illusion out in the field, disarm the outsider. True. However, I guess the idea then was you would have been pretty sure that you were going to die to the Vorhild attack. So I guess it was kind of a calculated play there. I'm not sure that what he did was wrong. I think that the flip just came up in Zambho's favor. So, all right. Let's get back to the action. No more hypothesizing. Ekrit is going to advance. I like this. Ekrit does need to go first, because if you march Akuti into sudden death, then it's guaranteed to be GG. So Akuti is going to move. Excuse me, not Akuti. I just said not Akuti. Ekrit is going to move in here. I think the play here is that you attack, move, attack, and worship with Ekrit. Delete off that minion. Get your leads down, because I think that that has to be your win con as Apples. And I also think that if you don't win this turn, then you just lose, because you do have to go all in on the lane here, which means that Zambho will be able to win the outsider. And assuming that for some reason Vorhild, Freyhill, and Kotlik don't kill you off by themselves, you will certainly die to the outsider this round. You only have 9 hit points, even with Word of Nupton to give you back a little bit of HP. That's not going to be enough to stave off an assault from all 3 of them, I don't think. So I think that as Apples, it's do or die here. And we'll see what happens. All right. Interesting place for an Ekrit illusion. And a lead from the deck. Okay. So Ekrit's illusion prevents you from being moved. Actually, no, that's actually a very good spot. What am I saying? That prevents the sinkhole from flinging Ekrit out of space. That is a good place there because it is hidden inside the cover hex. And because the outsider is occupying the adjacent cover hex, you can't necessarily see it without keeping yourself exposed. So very good placement on the illusion there. And with only 2 minions, if there is another Word of Nupton, you could move, you could skirmish, play Word of... but there's the presence. Okay, so Freyhill brings out the presence. This is going to repel Apple's offensive there. As a yellow player, you do not have access to Sinkhole. So this is starting to look pretty grim for Apples here. I think that in this situation, Zambho just holds off the tower and then kills Akuti here. Zambho looking stronger by the minute. So now, Akuti does have to activate, as Freyhill's final action is going to be the lead and, well, first of all, actually, that's only her first action. So she has the lead action from the deck that she just predicted. She's going to worship and then attack Ekrit, I assume, since she worshipped before exhausting. I have to assume that that's what you're doing. And the attack, there it is. The attack targeting Ekrit, very nice. Okay. So with the attack targeting Ekrit, oh, and we have a deck shuffle here, so Zambho has finally made his way through the deck. Flip over the attack, and it is a... Show it to us. I hear the flipping. There it is, +1. All right, so 3 damage to Ekrit. The 2 armor does not matter because Ekrit is piercing while she is shapeshifted, so Ekrit down to 13 hit points there. Oh! And a Call of the Pact. Very nice. All right, so Call of the Pact is going to deal a little bit additional damage here, so we may just abandon killing Akuti and just go and kill Ekrit instead. So Call of the Pact is going to bring that up for you. Spawn a friendly minion. Then if you have fewer minions than your opponent, adjacent target control. Oh, this wasn't what I was thinking of. I was thinking of the other card. So in this case, this is actually just going to further cement Zambho's control position here against Apples' attack. So even if 2 minions end up dying off, not a problem. With Call of the Pact, I would have thought maybe you held on to this until after Akuti activates, since Vorhild can also play this card. Then you would almost certainly have the fewer minions condition, because Akuti is almost certainly going to go for an attack there. But, I guess at this point you just kind of want to use Freyhill's mana up, which also makes sense as well. At this point, no response from Apples. Very good use of 4 mana. We do see the Call of the Pact and the Presence. Although Jokes does have interesting call there. If we use Whisper of Nuptin from Akuti, we could then respond with the Ekrit ultimate. Ekrit's ultimate, Eye of the Storm, would make it so that we could do a significant amount of minion control. Of course, Eye of the Storm does need to be centered on the illusion. And so therefore, at best, we would be able to clean up 2 minions if we position the illusion next to Freyhill. But 2 illusions is better than 2 minions is better than no minions when it comes to this point. So we will have to see. But there are certainly shenanigans that can be played with the math here. Also, there is a push to effect, so dependent on where the enemy heroes are at the end of the round, Freyhill, of course, can't be pushed out of the line of influence, but dependent on where Vorhild or where Kotlik ends, that is still a possibility. So let's go ahead and see what Zambho does here. So things are looking grim for Apples, but we're not going to count him out just yet. Right now, I'd probably say it's about a 70-30 in Zambho's favor. But Apples still does have tricks up his sleeve. Both Ekrit and Akuti at full HP. Or excuse me, at full mana. Now, of course, interesting to note here is that Zambho does get 2 activations in a row. As the second player with a hero advantage, he does get activations number 4 and 5 this round. So we'll have to see to what end can he put those consecutive activations to use. At this stage, who do we activate? Do we activate Vorhild? Do we activate Kotlik? We've already seen the My Kingdom card, although we did see the deck shuffled, so it is actually possible. Well, My Kingdom would be back in the deck at this point. He wouldn't have drawn it, so Going to have to see how Akuti is going to be used here, as this is kind of the do or die moment here for Apples. If he mispositions this, then the game, I think, just ends. So what can he do? He could do a move, skirmish into the cover hex with the Ekrit illusion, Whisper of Nupton attack a minion, or Whisper of Nupton move Ekrit's illusion. If he has 2 Whispers of Nupton in hand, that would be pretty good. I can't remember when he shuffled his deck, or if he did shuffle his deck, so I'm not sure what happened to the one that he used last round. It probably is back in the deck or in the discard pile. So a double Whisper seems unlikely. But we shall wait and see. Yep, and the chat also agreeing pretty closely ready to be called for Zambho here. Again, of course, some shenanigans for Apples, but looking more and more grim. That My Kingdom, I agree as well. That My Kingdom definitely saved him from the loss. Had he not deleted all those minions, that definitely would have been GG, as he's only got 1 tower point left, and I believe My Kingdom removed 4 minions, so that certainly would have been the loss right there. So a critical ultimate in the My Kingdom play there. And now Zambho, I do think, has a comfortable edge here. We'll have to see what Apples does. Apples does have a full hand, well, almost full, has 6 cards. So should have plenty of options between 6 cards and 8 mana. There should be at least something he can do. I'm not sure what that something is, mind you, but there should be something. All right, Apples, let's go. I'm out of ideas. You got to help me out, man. Do something. Nope. No, we're doing more thinking. All right. Let's think. Other events. Well, let's continue talking about other events, since we do have a little bit more time and I'm a little bit dry on ideas for how this could also resolve. Keep in mind, this Sunday, as always, we are going to continue our new series of Skytear Sundays, the King of the Dome. This week, we do have Tim Bunn, the reigning 2020 World Champion, against the dev himself, Giacomo. Now, as we remember from the 2020 World Championships bonus round, Ricardo did defeat Tim in the kind of bonus match, and so now does Tim get his revenge against Giacomo? Right now, Tim does have full access to the rosters, but we do get to require him to win a hero. According to the announcement chart right now, Gulbjorn has 5 votes, Kiki has 1 vote, Carl has 3 votes. Carl, you are not a hero, you don't count. Nantaka has 4 votes, so there are 2 votes, and running away with the lead right now, Kumaya with 18 votes. So Kumaya currently is going to be the forced hero. We'll have to wait and see what happens. On the Ashen Pass, again, remember, so if you want to change that, now would be a good time to start a writing campaign. Actually, it's now Thursday, or Wednesday, so actually I'm not sure how much time you have left. But it does look like Kumaya will be Tim's forced hero. Kumaya being a red-yellow will be interesting, since we know that Tim is a fan of all things green. He is a man of the nature. So we'll see how he responds with Kumaya. All right. Are we ready to activate? Nope, still not ready to activate. Let's see, what else do we have? Oh, we're going to play Time Glitch. All right, we're going to do some stuff here. Finally, we're going to activate. All right, so Time Glitch. I can't remember if I showed you this one before or not. Time Glitch is going to give you... Yeah, I think I showed this already to us, but nevertheless, that's fine. Time Glitch does give us fast here. So we are going to move straight into the cover hex. Very nice. Is there a worship action now going to come down? Yes, there's the worship action. We're going to reposition Akuti's illusion token to the right of Freyhill. That's going to allow us to attack a minion and then flip against it. But is there a response to the worship? No, there's not. Okay. Oh, we're not? Okay, well, I guess this works too. You can still get a minion with this too. That makes sense as well. So we are going to attack that minion now with the attack action. And then we will use the... Oh, and there's the -1 from, I assume, another one of the time warps. Good to see the flip there. And this is what C-Dubs and I were saying earlier. Running -1s with Akuti, super risky. Had those resolved in the opposite order, that would have been only one dead minion. So very nice play there for Apples. We do now get to see a little bit more control, although keep in mind Freyhill does still have control value of, we presume, 5. She is presenced, and there is a lead on top of her. What would actually be really interesting is if there's a sudden distraction play right now to discard that lead card, but seems unlikely to happen. All right. So, with that, we have a move, worship, attack. That is going to be the end of Akuti's activation. Akuti does still have 3 mana, of course. Still plenty of room for more shenanigans. Particularly some end-of-turn shenanigans that might be very useful. So we'll have to wait and see what he chooses to do there. We have new blood in the chat, it seems. Welcome, Nicholas Phipps Evans, to the group. If you have any questions, please feel free to jump in the NPC chat or the general, and we will be happy to answer any questions. All right, so Kotlik is now going to activate. So now the question is, as Zambho, do we just crash, bash, and smash and get the Onslaught victory here? Akuti is at 9 hit points. Eckert is at 13. The unstoppable play. Very nice. A lot of cards. One of the cards that I haven't seen as much anymore, given the changes. But with this, we are going to get Frenzy and Fast. So Kotlik is going to be able to run right up next to Akuti. That Frenzy will give him a +2 on the attack here. So this is going to be a 5 plus the flip. Akuti does have 1 armor. So this is going to be 4 plus the flip net. Nope, we're going to play Eye of the Storm. So this is what I was talking about. Where's Eye of the Storm? This is Eckert's ultimate here. So this does obviously remove end of the turn shenanigans with Eye, but this is actually going to be very good for stopping the assassination. Nope, that's Ermine's Eye. That's the wrong Eye. There we go. Eye of the Storm. Eckert is not able to be targeted. We're not caring about that. Put the AoE on the illusion and then yeet the enemies 2 hexes apiece. So Kotlik has now been blasted all the way out. Now, of course, he can skirmish back into control range if he so chooses. Would have been a little bit better had he been forced to move and skirmish to get to Akuti. But, of course, the Unstoppable's Fast did prevent that. And... now, the other thought is he could potentially just skirmish into the dome. But we'll see what happens. How do they always have every card in hand? C-Dubs is furious at not having, or at them always having the answers to the hand. That is, just the way that Skytear goes, C-Dubs. Sometimes you have that what you need in hand, and sometimes you don't. Such is the game, I suppose. Now, Eckert does have 1 mana left. Akuti has 3 mana left. Unfortunately, the problem here with this positioning is that neither of them are within range of that minion. That's why I would have liked to have seen the illusion to go over to be to the right of Freyhill. That way Akuti would have been in ranged for a Nightmares Incarnate. or perhaps a Shatter Mine. No, Shatter Mine's target hero only. Nightmares Incarnate to kind of spike that last minion at the end of the turn activation. Why are we pinging the Outsider and a minion? I'm missing something. Are we removing pillars? What's happening here? The Kotlik attack fizzled against a Kuti. I'm not sure what that was about. No. All right, anyways, of course, as we noticed, Kotlik did not take any damage. Eye of the Storm does do 2 damage, of course, but whenever the effect resolved, Kotlik was, and still is, in fact, within range 3 of his pillars, therefore he has 2 armor, so net of 0 damage. The important part, though, is that that 5 plus flip did not get to go off on a Kuti, which means that it will be more difficult for Zambho to kill her. Apple's still going through the thought process here. You do have our Zambho. Zambho apparently is declaring something. I'm just not sure what it is exactly. I have to assume it's probably a skirmish. It can't be Provoke the Beast. He's not within range, nor does he have line of sight from this end. Was it a pillar collapse? Why did that minion die? It had to have been a pillar collapse from Kotlik. I have to assume that's what that was. No, wait. A pillar collapse. That's not his ability. Why did that minion die? I must have missed something. I apologize. I'm missing an effect here. Oh, it was the Outsider activating from the Ekrit illusion. So, okay, so even though there's no damage to the Outsider does get to retaliate, and so the Outsider, in fact, did go and ping the minion. Okay, that's what happened. That makes perfect sense. Okay, that makes more sense. That makes perfect sense. All right, so Forhild is going to come outside here with the move action. I assume she's going to attack a Kuti and then slink back into the dome, as that would allow her to get control of the Outsider yet again and set up Ekrit to, or excuse me, set up a Kuti to basically die in the next round, assuming that the Outsider is not able to finish her off. And there's the Granite Skin. So the Granite Skin is going to give that +1 armor and then +1 skirmish damage. Do we see potentially a Rampant Hatred coming down here? Or are we just going to pile on Granite Skin? Yep, there it is. There it is. Rampento Hatrido, which I realize is absolutely not how that pronounced in whatever Romance language I was attempting to go for there. Still probably the best offensive card in the game. Rampant Hatred gives you +1 skirmish damage for each friendly hero within the line of sight. Well, guess what? That's 3. Then this caster gets to take a bonus skirmish action. So, in this situation here, Akuti is now facing the barrel down of +4 skirmish action, times 2 plus an attack. This game is probably over unless there is a response from Akuti. I don't even think Whisper of Nupton, I'm sorry, not Whisper of Nupton, Radiant Light Voice, the voice of Nupton, I don't think there's any chance to survive this. Apple's possibly looking for a response before this resolves, of course, but this is going to hurt. So Akuti does get +1 armor right now, But Vorhild is about to do 2 rounds of 4+ flip, and then she still has her 3+ double flip from the attack. So if you have a disarm, now would be the time to use it. Because if you don't, you are likely about to lose, Apples. You need either a migraine or you need Word of Nupton. If you have neither of those, I believe that Zambho is about to win. Let's see. You do have 4 cards left as Apples. Or you could just do this. Time Warp. We're jumping in. Okay, so Time Warp will actually mean that the first skirmish cannot, in fact, actually damage Akuti. That is the card we've seen before that will allow her to dodge 1 hex. So I guess at this point, yeah, just go for Ekrit now. Shoot Ekrit once, shoot Ekrit twice, shoot her a 3rd time, and make your way into the dome. So that's going to deal some damage there. Ekrit was at 13. She does have 2 armor thanks to... Oh no, she's out of range of the Akuti illusion. She does not get that bonus armor. That is going to be 5 damage to her. Okay, yeah, this makes perfect sense here. So this is another reason. Why did you put that Akuti illusion all the way down there? Ekrit may just die now. At this point now, you go ahead, declare a skirmish against Ekrit, and then attack her, and potentially just win the game. Ekrit has 8 HP. You're going to get 4+ a flip, 3+ a double flip. So essentially 5 plus your 2 flips. You just need to hit a combination of +3 in 3 flips. I like those odds. If I'm Zambho, I say we run it down. Of course, to be fair, my answer to everything in this game is run it down and kill people. But nevertheless, okay, we're going to go for the attack. So I think this is a good idea. We're going to test the waters here, see how this works. And then we can skirmish into the dome as well. So there's a +2. That's going to be 5 5 after the fact. -1 armor does bring Ekrit to 4. All right. Moment of truth. As long as this skirmish flips a positive value, this is game over by Onslaught. Ekrit only has 1 mana. Akuti only has 1 mana. Neither of them are going to... There it is. +3. And we're going to go ahead and skirmish into the dome. Doesn't matter. Ekrit's dead. Good game. That is a dead Ekrit. That is 3 points on Onslaught. Victory goes to Zambho. Congratulations. All right, let's go ahead and start with players for a little bit before we this. Good game. Hello, good game, guys. That was awesome.
That he already declared the target with the rampant hatred, and actually he didn't.
Yeah.
So I should have waited using the time warp after he declared the target.
Yes.
Not before, you know?
Yeah.
My mistakes. Completely my mistakes. I was fully convinced that he already declared, but actually he didn't. So he's right.
Yep.
He is right.
Yep. With the new rules, the rampant hatred sets a separate instant on the stack. So yeah, that does make it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the point. I should have waited the target. I was convinced that he didn't, and actually he didn't. So my mistakes. My mistake.
Yep, and yeah, and the chat was asking about rampant hatred fizzling, about why didn't it hit fizzle, and part of the reason was, as you just mentioned, you didn't let the rampant hatred resolve fully, put the extra skirmish on the stack, and then you could have time warped it. So yeah.
Yeah. That's my mistake, because the rampant would have fizzled, and so I think would have stayed alive. Because there was no way of killing him without this rampant hatred.
Right.
So, well, my mistakes.
but it's still a very, very good game played by both of you. Like, that was going back and forth. I'm like, all right, Apples is in the lead. Now Zambho's in the lead. Now Apple's back in the lead. Now Zambho's in the lead. Oh, so it was a very, very well fought game from both of you guys.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Yes.
Have a good video.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you very
Bye,
much.
guys.
Yep. We'll let you guys know as we get the next game in the future. So thank you very much for joining us, everyone, and we'll see you guys in the next game. Have a good afternoon.
Bye bye. Ok. Io ti saluto che sono in ritardo.
Sì. Ciao Zambho, grazie.
Ciao, grazie a te, bellissima.